pleasure, I will start to share, and now I can share my screen and go into presentation mode. Yes. Yep. Good. This topic is not a rocket science topic. It's an easy topic, but I think it's good because, I mean, some of you are eating, so an easy topic while eating is good. It's good. So it's called personal maps. And then very quick about me. I mean, I'm Mexican, you can notice because my beautiful accent. And I have been working in Ericsson for almost 30 years. And then I will tell you a little bit about my story because this will help me to develop the topic personal maps. Right now I'm working as a consultant in Rodriguez Pardo, and we are giving these services also to Reve Digital, basically in Bulgaria, where I have been spent 1 year and 8 months. And now I'm here in Germany, in Colonia. So then, too much about me. I already told you I'm Mexican, and I start my journey in Mexico. And I start with this company, beautiful company, all the people happy. You can see the smile is not just because the photo, it's really because the people was happy. I mean, if you ask anybody there, are you happy to be every morning here? Everybody is arriving with a smile. Of course, all of them very young people, most of them very young people, but this is not the reason why they were happy. The reason why they were happy is because the sense of community in this company was very, very high. And then we were physically collocated and emotionally near. Because I mean, you can have a company where or a team where the team members are physically collocated, but far, far, far away mentally. And then, but this was not the case. I don't know if it's something to do, I suppose it's something to do with the culture of the Mexicans, but it's also something to do with the culture of the company. And then our sense of empathy was really high. I mean, we managed projects in record time because we were feeling this urgency all together, and we were feeling this empathy, loyalty. I mean, we share so many personal stuff like weddings, like first communion, and you mentioned it. We were all there. We always describe ourselves like a family. I know it sounds kind of cursi, but I mean, it was like that. And then we have a high level of trust between us. We trust in the leadership, we trust in our manager, we trust in each other, and it looks like the beautiful land in heaven. And I was thinking, as a Mexican, I was thinking it's like this everywhere. Everywhere is exactly the same. But surprise, surprise. 10 years after I start in this company, I decide to travel to the same company, but to Germany. And then to spend a couple of years in Ericsson, Germany, expecting the same, expecting the same sense of community, expecting the same environment, because I say it's the same company, of course, will be the same. But surprise, surprise. I mean, the same company, but different country, different culture, different thinking. And then I learned something here at the beginning, very painful. And is during the first 3 months, I was seated in an office with one person. I will not say the name. And then after 6 months, I feel kind of, we were here seated together for 6 months almost. And then I will dare to ask, hey, I will put one name, Pepito, how was your weekend? And then, do you know what Pepito was telling to me? Oh, my hair was like, ah! Are you interested in my private life? What? What am I doing? What did I say? What I did wrong? No, of course, not in your private personal life. It's just a question to break the ice, to start to making a conversation. Why do you want to make a conversation on my personal life? This is not correct. So believe me, after 2 years, I still don't know if this person is married or not, if has kids or not. It was really, really tough. And it happened with several colleagues. So I started learning same company culture is not the same in every country. After years working there, I mean, I moved from process engineering to Scrum Master. The company adopted this agile way of working, and then they gave me this beautiful team. They are smiling.
There I am. There I am. It's me in the middle.
Yeah, in the middle is Almudena, yes. And then, even though they look smiley, happy, I mean, the first retrospective that we do, I dare to make the first exercise. And I was so brave, and I asked them, how do you feel? And guess what happened? So there was one guy, I will not tell you who, that asked me, what kind of game is this one? Are you a psychologist or something like this? We are engineers. First of all, we are engineers. Second, most of us are gentlemen. And then the third one, we are Germans. Some of them are not German, but this was the answer kind of what happened, what you are asking personal stuff. So then I learned that in order to have a team, I mean, you need to lead this transformation, this maturity. You need to go through all this forming, storming, norming, and performing. And then I was at the beginning. And then at the beginning, the people was just people seated together, but they were not a team. They didn't share any common understanding. And so even though we have a vision all together, we have a product all together, I mean, we were totally far away, personally far away, mentally far away. And then you can see here, and then and in one of the axes, it's a team effectiveness. I start notice being far away mentally, it's not so good because we were collocated physically, mentally far away. The empathy was not empathy at all, not trust at all. Everybody was looking what is the other are doing, what is the stupid tester is doing. I think he should learn how to develop because developers are the best ones, and then and so and so and so. There was no trust. And then you can see it immediately. The four first sprints, our velocity was zero, no velocity. The people need something. And I understand we are not a team, definitely. We are not a team. Then things become better. But I would like to jump a little bit more into the last year. The last year, again, for the same company, now it's called Reve Digital Company. I fly from Germany to Bulgaria. Reve company, yeah, same company, but another mentality, another way of thinking. And then I receive a kind of a team who was already formed. And then I arrived to them and they say, oh, we already know each other. We have been working together 3 months and you don't need to do any team building activity because we already know we work well and so on and so on. I was thinking, really, you are so near together. Are you really a team? And I couldn't find immediately the opportunity to play this personal map, but then 2 new members arrived. And then say, okay, maybe now. I mean, knowing the calendar of events, I mean, the next team event was 1 month ahead. So I'd say, we cannot wait. So we cannot wait. So the first things we did with them, it was kind of a welcome activity, but it was not a team event like going out together one day and I don't know, do something together. It was just 1 hour where we need to say welcome to these people. So the people is aware of this mind map. They use it, they like it to explore any problem, to explore things, to explore challenges, to explore root cause analysis. They use it for everything. But then I went to the Jürgen Appelo book and I saw this personal map. So I was thinking, why not to explore people? But the word personal, it was not so nice because I know personal is a kind of tricky word. How can we do? How can we do? So I take this as a challenge. And then I call the event retrospective just because I need to call it something different than welcome or whatever. And then the new team members were there. So, and then everybody was thinking, okay, who are they? And then important was they are going to develop with us. And that is all what is important. I say, no, let's do one activity, one task, welcome activity, and then we present ourselves. And then the typical presentation is, tell us your name, tell us where are you coming from, and tell us what is your previous company and what role do you have here. It's typically the questions we answer when we present to each other. Mainly when we are new, I mean, we don't give any personal information. Then just imagine, I mean, when we were recruiting people there was CVs, curriculums that they don't even have a photo. And this is allowed in this country, in Bulgaria. I mean, you can send your CV with a photo and it's perfectly okay. No, it was very, very, very difficult, I mean, to go into the personal life of the people. So we did this round presentation and I say, okay, I will start, even though it's looking like funny, you are the moderator and you start. But what I start to doing is while I was presenting myself, I was drawing. I was doing a mind map from my person. Then I start to give them some information about my family, about where I'm coming from, about my career, my professional career. And then I give to them the task to do their own map. I omit the word personal. I totally omitted. I didn't say personal map. I didn't want to have any problem. So just please draw in silence your own picture, your own map. Give the information that you would like to give and nothing else. And then when you finish, your colleague besides you will present you with the map that you give it to him. As I expect, there was one guy who didn't draw anything. He didn't even draw one circle, and he started writing like a letter. Even though I asked them, please do not write, try to do it in a graphical way, because this has an impact. This visualization, bring us near together. Now, these guys say, no, I will do it. There was one who make a kind of a code like Java, start to doing kind of a Java presentation of himself. And then we give this one, they give this one to the next colleague to the right, I think. And then the colleague was able to present the person. Of course, this was an eye-opener for everybody, because you can imagine the face. Really? You born in the same town that I'm born? Really? I didn't know. Maybe you know. And then the conversations start to flow. No. When? Maybe you know my cousin. He live, and then this kind of conversation start to pop up. You also do karate. Wow, cool. And then this kind of information start to making the people feeling nearer together. Me too, for example. Oh, I'm also know Spanish. I remember one guy was there, but I'm also, because I have been living in Spain for 2 years, I also know Spanish. And then I cannot tell you that after this exercise, everybody was friend and everybody was already feeling this empathy, and that, no, but it was a really good start, that in 1 hour, the people start to know we do not really know each other. We know what we are doing here in the work. We know and which piece of code we are working, but we do not know each other, even though we have been here for 3 months together. One face was missing. So my learnings is the team members did not know each other really until they start to share some personal information. And this personal information bring you near. This feeling of this empathy start to build up, and this empathy is needed when we would like that our team has this happiness inside the team, this trust inside the team. This is very important. I mean, I read one book, the Phoenix Project, and then one exercise that the I think was the CEO made with the people that he was working. He make them say one story, from personal story, to each of the member of his leadership team. And then they were thinking, this is crazy, this is no, why? And then he explained why, and he explained exactly this one. I mean, and the miracle happened. It was the starting. So this activity bring the people mentally close, and then the other is the consequence. And then I would like really to say, it's do not replace a team building event. Do not replace it. Do your team buildings, go outside, play, but this can be a good trigger. This can be also a good icebreaker when the group is not so big, of course, when it's small groups, and then you have the time to allow this conversation to flow. Then, now that we are geographically dispersed, this closeness, physical closeness is not there. So the question is, can we still use this tool? Can we still take some advantages? And then for this one, I mean, the answer is yes, you can. And then you can do remote personal maps, and then bring this closeness to the team, to make the team to be closer. And for this one, I would like to leave Almudena to show us some practical examples.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you the one we are applying, and then hand over back to Norma. I think I have it here. Where am I with my here personal map board? There they are. I think you are seeing it now. This is a mirror board. I don't sell any tools, or it's not about making any advertisement for any tools, but for today, most of the collaboration tools, the two which are being most used is Miro, or Miro in English. Miro is the Spanish version, Miro, and Mural. I've been working on both, and the functionality, the way they work is pretty much the same. My feeling is that Mural has some more performance issue than Miro, but I cannot really prove it. So take any of them. Miro has a free license, which works very good. And you have actually two possibilities. You can take a template. You have here templates. And one of them is the mind map template. And that's the one I took, for example, here to run my personal map. So that will be me with my hobbies and work. So that will be the more sophisticated approach. And the other is just you just take some posits and some lines to connect them. So you have here the functionality of posits, and you can now change color if you want to do another part of your life in another color. And here you can just connect them to each other. So very simple possibility to have a free license in any collaboration board and take either existing template or just apply it. The beautiful thing, if you do it with all the team remote together at the same time, then you have them all by each other. So you can have 8, 10 together, and then you can read the one from your neighbor, you can read any other one, just you have them all in front of you. So you could have, imagine you all write your personal map now on this board, then in one glance you can see, look what Samuel does, look at Norma has for hobbies, look, David is doing this right now. So it's these collaboration tools give a beautiful overview for everybody to share when we do it on person, somebody reads aloud the personal map from the other colleague, and then the paper is lying in a corner, so it's not always available. So has some advantages having it online. And yeah, we have good experiences with this. Just wanted to show you, it's a nice, easygoing practice, which working pretty well. I'm gonna hand over to Norma to finish, or Norma throw me out. I'll stop sharing. Yeah, and hand over to Norma.
Then, yes, and then I come back to this one. Oh, it's taking time. Now, share. So then my message basically is take the risk. Take the risk, take any chance to use it, and I put it inside of the toolbox. So for team activities, for icebreaker, of course, doing it by hand, writing, painting. I mean, the brain start working in the different hemispheres. So it's very nice, and I have to see how the people can bring with something totally artistic. Now, this is also good. Then questions. If there are any questions.
Perhaps you could stop sharing your screen.
Yes, I will do so. Thank you, thank you. I stopped sharing. Where is this stopping? Here, stop. Yep.
Okay. Does anyone have questions? It's interesting. First of all, that's the first time I've seen one that puts the face in the middle. I like that idea. The little drawing with it, it's a fun little creative thing I think people like. And it's interesting because I've done personal maps for, gosh, well over 5 years, and every time it's very different. And I think it's a good way to, even if you've done them with your team before, check in again, especially now, because our world is smaller. So what we focus on in our personal map will change. There was a question from Craig, which is there a template of the sorts of key topics you would put on a personal map to help the team get started? Great question, Craig.
I think when I mean in my case, because I use it for people to present themselves, people that didn't know each other before. I mean, we leave it open, totally open. Also because I didn't still understand well the Bulgarian culture, so I didn't want to take the risk to drive it toward one direction and tell them, oh, please, let's talk about family, let's make it around school or professional skills or hobbies. So I leave it free. I mean, and then you can see some developers, in this case was a team of developers, they went a little bit deeper into the branch of professionals where they study what was the preferable language and so on and so on. I mean, when you have people who is married, you see typically they go more oriented toward the family. Then you can use it. I mean, there is no templates. I mean, there is the book from Jürgen Appello where he's giving some very nice examples and some more guidelines, some more tips. Also, there are another variants how to do it. But I don't know a template, a specific template. But you can adapt it to your needs. What do you want to explore from the person in that specific moment?
What I mostly do, I show the
Mhm.
slide from Jürgen like Norma did, show it shortly as inspiration, and then switch it off so people don't copy. No, what is their hobbies? I put my hobbies. So I just
Exactly.
show it for 1 minute, say that's the way it could look, and then take it out so that the people use their fantasy.
Exactly. There
You
is
can also
another.
give a bunch of different examples too that look very different from people, like in
Exactly.
colorful, etc.
Exactly.
There's also, what is it, Jamboard, I believe, is the free Google tool that you could also use it for.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I presented the two
several.
boards I know, but there are so many. I don't think tooling is the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Jamboard's pretty basic. I don't think you can link Post-its together like we saw with the Miro. You can
Maybe
draw
you
a
can
line.
just drawing them with a pencil. Also, it's
Exactly.
It's really great, especially when we're spending so much time in the computer, to force people to look away, and then they can hold it. And then you could take a picture of it to send to someone else, that if you want to have, because there's so many different ways you can do it, and you can have, you describe yourself, have someone else describe you, have someone else describe you, and you guess who it is, things like that.
Yeah.
This is very nice. This is very nice when the other person tries to read your personal map and they encounter, for example, it has happened, the guy who wrote everything in text, the guy who tried to present him had problems because he started reading and then it's something difficult. But the one who didn't draw but make kind of a program with a language. And then it was really, really funny to see how the other guy enjoyed to try to describe, to present the colleague who do it like this. So there are many, many ways. And now that this is remote, you can use, for example, ask them to put pictures or allow them to put different kind of resources taken from the internet. I don't know.
Plus, if they're shy or something, you can also do this as a one-to-one activity, break off to pair off in a one-to-one. Use a tool like Donut and in Slack, and do random pairings and set them an assignment. Set them of doing personal maps or whatever you want, for sure.
Exactly. In a big group, exactly, you can do subgroups and then they do their personal map there. I mean, you can do it also for teams when you would like to present one team to another team. So they do a team map and they present which areas they are working, how many team members are, and so on. And then Sam is sharing with us, thank you, Sam, the link to the practice itself. So Jürgen is giving a lot of nice examples and tips. So, thank you, Sam.
It's a nice video as well. It's only about 5 minutes long.
True. It's very, very nice. And there are a lot of experiences collected there.
Exactly.
Claire Donald, one of the AgiNext members, taught me for the first time. It's really good if you have like an on-site physical place, but maybe there's a way to remote this. But you put everyone's personal maps up and then you take string, or maybe you put it on paper that you can write on and connect. So you make a giant mega personal map, which is a lovely one we did at AgiNext, I think.
This is nice. This is nice.
That sounds great.
For a team, no, just you enter to a room of a team and then you see all this network, and this is very nice. Good idea. Cool.
Does anyone have other ways that they're creating empathy and getting to know each other a bit more closely as a team? Other practices?
There's a technique from Olaf Liewitz. He's a German agilist who does influence maps, and it's quite similar, but it's less based on your history or your education and all that. It's more about what were the influences in your life, and I've done it several times. Now I'm reluctant to do it now because last time I did it, it was with a group. It was mainly women, and two of them cried because it can be very brings up a lot of emotions, but it can be very interesting. I'll see if I can find that. Olaf has a thing called Timonos. I don't know if those in Germany have heard of Olaf or.
Yeah, I know him.
Okay. So it's his Timonos. So it's one of his Timonos activities. I did it at a conference with him last year, and it's very interesting. It's quite similar, but not exactly the same format.
Mhm. Then you can give the focus you need to give, no, depending what aspect do you want to explore. I mean,
Exactly.
it can
Yes.
be used for everything.
And Paola shared Emily Weber, who is great. She shared one of the tools. So you want to tell us about that a bit?
Yeah, so this is the one that is, it speaks to me a lot because especially when you have a team storming, it really helps out to build the empathy between them and to see others' perspective. So it's not more around discovering myself and sharing, you know, for the new team, like, well, my hobbies, interests, etc., but actually talking about what values are important to me, what do I care about, things I love at work, right? So this is something that is quite important. Things I need to do to work well. I think this is really, really empathetic approach. So it's like giving you the kind of instruction, like a manual to yourself, which is super useful. I can share, we had an experience, we did interview once a person who was autistic, and she was very open about it. And honestly, to me, that was the best experience ever because she just said she met our team and she said very specifically what, for example, don't ask me if you like to go for lunch or where do you go for lunch, where would you like to go for lunch. Ask me specific questions. Don't ask me open questions because I would just freeze and I will start to think about it, and you know, all the like things in my head will start to spin out. And she gave us like basically a manual to her, like how to communicate with her. I thought after that experience, I thought we should all do this. We should all do this because this is not really obvious, and be explicit about it. So Emily Weber is very similar to this approach, and it's really building, I think, the empathy around just human communication and seeing, you know, other people in a more personal way, I guess.
And for people watching the video, we'll include the link in the description, but it's Emily Weber's The Team Manual and Exercise to Help Build Empathy in Teams. And then Sam has also included the link for Vision Tememos, Vision Temenos. And it's an introduction to influence maps. And of course, when we're talking about Jürgen Appelo, we're talking about Management 3.0 website, and you can just search personal maps practice and you will find it. I think one of the things that's very good about the communication, being upfront and when you're onboarding a new person, especially is in this remote space, because Slack can be incredibly overwhelming for people. Also, I think Lisette Sutherland's practice, it's not her practice, but she's who I learned it from, team agreements, and specifically clarifying how you're going to communicate. Slack is not always appropriate for communication yet. It's where we're going. And people are getting lost and feeling behind and overwhelmed more than ever. So we need to understand individual people's communication needs. In fact, a client, I was talking to one of the team members of a client today, and he said, as you can tell, I'm terrible at Slack. Just SMS me and we can get on a phone. He also is undergoing a lot of Zoom fatigue. So if you're trying to have a serious conversation with someone about something, and if it can be one-to-one, ask how they'd like to talk. Maybe they'd prefer a phone. Maybe not.
Exactly. this is something nice now where you can use also this technique about talking about vulnerability and how to approach how the other people need to approach us. And this showing vulnerability, it's also one way to empathize with the other ones. It's really, really important, mainly if we are in a leadership position.
This is why this year's Agile Tour London, we're going to have an entire track on psychological safety, because
Cool.
it's just so important. It's a prerequisite for team resiliency and DevOps
Exactly.
and everything, but we think we need an entire track. We had a very successful lean agile lean coffee, which we do with the digital leadership meetup monthly last month, and that inspired that. It seems like such an issue that it's an entire track going to be. And actually Emily Weber and Sam Brown are going to do that together, offering their tool of consequence scanning, which is a totally different but awesome thing at the Agile Tour London conference. So please consider applying to give a talk and share your ideas. It's one of like 6 tracks.
We will do.
Did anyone have anything else they would like to share? Is anyone hitting any barriers, especially when we're in a remote first space right now, or in general with your teams? Obviously, a lot of us have been on lockdown working from home for a couple months now. It's a privilege that we have because we work mostly in tech, or we work mostly at our computers, but we might be losing that rhythm of everyone being so forgiving of people working at home with kids, or it doesn't get harder. It doesn't get easier, I mean, or they might be just expecting people to be always on again and things like that. So is anyone dealing with those issues in a different way, or finding struggles right now that they want to talk about? Or if you found a solution, something you want to celebrate, something that you've done with your team. Another Management 3.0 is celebrate learning.
Mm.
Yep.
From my perspective, what I found, you need to go easy on yourself. And honestly, this is the first thing. And just accept this is a very uncommon situation. It's not only working from home, but it's working from home in a pandemic. So it's a very, very different from usual working from home. Yeah, so just to accept the things won't be as usual. Your daily routine won't be as usual. This is when I was struggling with, because my all morning routine, which was perfect for me when I was cycling or just going to the office, it disappeared and was gone. And I was really finding a hard time to create a new one. But I decided, well, if it's only just a reading book before the work at my balcony, that's good enough. I will do that.
Yeah. It happened with the team I'm working with right now, that at the beginning, I mean, they were, let's say last year, I mean, they were thinking, oh, working from home, no, this did not work, no, we will be even less effective, and no. They were really skeptical about it. And then when I start working with them, I'm living near to 100 kilometers away. And then I asked them permission to work from home on Fridays. And they say, yes, Fridays is okay. And they always forget me. They have the meetings, they discuss, and they always forget to invite me to. And then on Monday, of course, surprise, decision has been taken, and but they always forget me. And they have the idea, oh, what is she doing the whole Friday at home? Then now that we are all at home, all of us at home, I mean, the last retrospective, I mean, they say, oh my God, it's working so good at home. We are communicating even with everybody. We don't forget anybody. We don't have this problem with the rooms, because it's also always a problem to find a free room to have a meeting. And then the people is more aware of the different channels. We are using Slack, what the other teams are requesting, if there is one problem in production, and then they are all of them aware. And then we can prove now that our throughput, we are using Kanban, is a little bit higher than the normal. Why? Because the people is not spending this 1 hour, 1.5 hours, in my case, 3 hours going and coming, but they are investing this time at home. But of course, I mean, none of us has kids. None of us, and this is something that we should consider when we have father or mothers that need to take care of the kids at home while they are trying to work and trying to take care of kids. So it's a luxury situation in my case, with this thing.
I've definitely heard from people saying, we just, when I interviewed 8x8, they just got a huge new, it's a Zoom competitor, but mainly for enterprise spaces. And they're growing dramatically right now, obviously. And they've been a 30-year-old company. They just bought a new headquarters or rented new headquarters in San Francisco. And they were like, that was probably a dumb idea. We never needed this. We found we can work from home, but then there will be, of course, backlash of companies that have done. My cousin works for a company that they're timing time on computer. So if she's more than 5 minutes away, which even for a bathroom break can be a little short for sometimes, and she has her daughter there, she will get penalized, or it doesn't count as working time. So only if she's staring at the computer is she working.
Oh man,
which is super unhealthy. So there will be backfire. There will be companies that will set back, but I think a lot of companies will embrace more, at least flexible work, and the need for what, again, Lisette Sutherland has taught me is a remote first culture.
I mean, you can pervert the system as much as you can.
Oh yeah, there's definitely people who've invented things so they see your mouse moving, but it's not actually moving because you're not at your computer. So people will gamify that, and of course. But I think it comes down to being a remote first culture, so people don't come to work when they're sick with anything anymore, and they have personal time, and they can choose to. Everything's in place to work remotely forever if they need to, but we'll see what happens. I don't know.
It's challenging time and then changing times, and then we need to find the way to adapt, and also to take some advantages and invent some new ways.
There's opportunity even in
exactly
in trauma. There's opportunity in this trauma, and hopefully we will be learning a lot from it. As part of being, you are now, if you would like, part of the Aginex community, we have a Slack channel, or we have a Slack community. If you would like to be added, please private message me now in the chat your email address. We continue the conversations. Meetup channel is pretty much the most active channel besides the usual general random, etc. Remote working, of course, is very active right now. Parenting, active right now channels, or you can make your own. So if you would like to be added to our, I think, 400-person Slack community, so quite small compared to others, please send me in private message in the chat your email address, and I'll be happy to send you an invitation, which look out for that, and we'll send in the next hour, and it'll probably be in your spam because that's where Slack invitations go to dot. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Muchísimas gracias, Norma, por hacerlo thank you so much to both of you. Thank you to everyone for joining us. If you have an idea of what you would like this meetup to be, if you have an idea of what topics you would like to do, what exercises in the general theme of the future of work and DevOps and agility, please let us know. You can find me on LinkedIn. If you need anything, if you need help with something, that's what we strive to be, a community. And yeah, thank you so much to everyone.
One last thing. I put in another link for the influence maps. I'm not sure if the first link is the actual goes to Olaf's thing. So the trust artist is definitely Olaf. So
okay, that's great. And just a reminder, when you leave this Zoom, I will share in the Slack community, but the links, not people's email addresses, of course. but you will lose the chat. So if you want to save the chat, it will only save your private chats and the public chat, not people's emails. So if you just hit the ... in the chat, you can hit save chat so you get those links, or do as I do and just click on them and have an insane amount of tabs on your computer. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you,
And
Jen, for
let's
organizing. Yeah,
let's
looking
keep,
forward to the next one.
Yeah, let's keep mentally near.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Thank you.